So before looking at the code, we look at the timeline Java doc here. We know that it extends from animations, as it's specified here. Timeline is inherits from animation. Now, when we look at this, let's check the constructor. We had an empty constructor. We can specify the target frame rates, keyframes, right? Get keyframes. Since timeline has many frames, so it's an observer list. You can stop the animations. Right, so these are the constructor of the timeline. So construct of timeline, keyframe of this timeline. The custom target frame rate for this timeline, target frame rate. So we can specify that. So this is our new timeline, and we pass in the keyframe. So we use this constructor, right? And if you look at keyframe itself, the Java doc for keyframe, so we can pass the event handler, right, on finish actions, right? So through that duration of time frame, right? So that's why we just do event handler like there. So at that 5 seconds, you want to finish the action, right? And we just make text to be disappeared. Because this not equal to 0, right? When we start, size of the text that we program here is not 0, then it's disappear, make it to 0. And since this cycle is indefinite, so it's going to come back. And now take was 0, then we just make the text to show, because we're going to do else case, so the text is going to show back. So if you look at the animation that we did, every 5 seconds it's come back, because we set it to 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds it's going to disappear according to the keyframe and event handler here. And if we add the events to the mouse, we can click on the text to pause the animations, so it will never disappear like that. Right, for that one I was running at half second, so that it keep flashing. Right, by just changing these values to 500, so it's changed to 5 seconds. This one was the other one was running at 5 seconds. This is half seconds. 5,000 5 seconds. Alright, so that's how we use the timeline. Right, again, timeline used to program any animation using one or more keyframes. This is why we use one keyframe. Each keyframe is executed sequentially at a specified time. So we can look at the collection of keys, right? Collection of key here, right? Values too. But it's more than one keyframes. Alright, so clock animation. So we can create an application as a clock with the animation. So this is just showing how we do that. So first, use clock pane. Okay, so use clock pane and then add event to clock by set the current time. So clock is going to show the current time. Now timeline, using timeline, right? So set every 1 second we have event handler. We might just go back and set the current time again. This is the current time for the timeline. So that's how we make the clock change according to every second. The time has to be changed, and just make it indefinite, right? Just keep going, cycle, and play it. So seems like clock pin is the answer to the clock. The rest of the code is pretty much just show on the pin. So let's test this clock animation with clock pin. We're going to create a new class named clock animation. New Java class. So we have to be in the source folder. It's RC clock animation, and let's start to see what's clock pin. So looks like clock pin is not a part of the library here. It's being created. You have to create your own clock pin. Okay, with those methods. So the code for clock pin, I mean, you can create it with your own, but I just look at Google for clock pin JavaFX. So the first link, that's the code for clock pin. It's pretty much extends pin and has hour, minute, and seconds. Set the width and height of the pin. Set current time to clock pin, that's the default constructor. Or you can specify your own time. And you call pin clock. So pin clock is the method that will draw the clock, but this is certain getters, right? For minute, hour, and seconds. This is get width and set width, get height and set height. Those are the attributes of these clock pins, right? Hour, minute, seconds, width, and height of the pin. Now, set current time is the method too. So we're gonna use what we have learned, the calendar, Gregorian calendar. We can get the hour, minute, and second to set to hour, minute, seconds, and call pin clock. So pin clock is the key to the clock here. So we create the according to width and height that we set to the clock pin. Then we can make the center by divide by 2, right? And we can just calculate for the radius, that what the clock radius should be, by getting the mean value of this. Okay, and that's proportion. Now we create the new circle according to the set X and Y, because clock is a circle, and fill with a white color and stroke with black. And we have text. Okay, so if you look at, we just create this text, right? 4 numbers, those are the text. So for each number, like 12, 9, 3, and 6. And this is just find the location where you put the text, X and Y location. Right, so X should be from the center, subtract to 5, X, right, subtract 5. And from Y, minus clock radius. So you can see that's where 12 is, right? And 9, let's say 6 from the center, subtract to 3. And Y plus clock radius. Y minus clock radius go to the top. Plus go to the bottom, right? So this is just do the location. Now we get the numbers. So now we start to draw the second hand. So second hand is pretty much just, that's why we have proportion 0.8 and 0.5. Second hand is pretty much just longer, the red one, right? And mid hand is shorter, and then our hand is 0.5. So that's how we do proportion here to set the second hand, mid hand, and our hand. And to draw, we pretty much just use the line, right? Create a line based on center x, center y, the same center of the circle. And this is the distance, right, of the line, which is you can find the x and y. If you know 2 points, then you can draw the line, right? So this is just the formula in math that you can find the distance do arcsine, arc cosine, find distance, same, but this is just shorter. And this is based on the seconds, and this is based on the minutes, and this is based on the hour. Let's keep drawing. This is like in math, you know, this is like how to find when you know like Pythagoreans, right? The triangles, the tangents, right? Okay. Now, this can draw the circles and the numbers on the circles, like the dial, and then the minute, hours, and second hands. And we add them all, right, to the pen, which is get children extends pen, so it becomes the pen. So, like the tricky part is just how to draw this, which you should have a good math background, which you can review that on your own. Now we're going to look at putting this into application name. Right, we're going to name the class clock pen, then we can run this. Clock animation. Let's run the program. Alright, so we just create a clock. Like I said, the tricky part is just that drawing the line, which is based on the math, which you can review that. Every second it's just change and redraw it, which is coming from here, right? Every second it's just do set the current time. That's why I just keep tweaking based on the time and hours that you set, and then that just put into the tangent formula, like the distance formula here. Then you can find x and y to redraw the lines of the second hands. Or clock animation. So last example is the bouncing ball. You can create a class name ball pen that holding pressure hold windows with x, y, dx, dy, the difference between two x and y, radius and circle, and animation timeline, play, pause, increase speed, decrease speed. You can set the speed of the ball bouncing, rate property, and move ball. And bounce ball control pretty much just using the ball pen, and you can look at the code inside here. So ball pen extends pen, which has a radius x and y, and circle, create a circle, to you